Patrícia Lopes. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Trás-os-Montes and Alto Douro, Vila Real, Portugal, and I am a teacher of parasitic diseases. On tick-borne diseases, because of the climatic changes, I believe they are increasing, yes, in Europe, and for example, there are some mosquito species, for example, Aedes albopictus, that are spreading across Europe from Asia. And there are cases of people and animals being bitten by these mosquitoes in the daylight and not only on the evening or in the night. Malaria, there weren't no vaccines, and today there is a vaccine that was developed for administration in children from Africa. And I can also tell you about toxoplasmosis, zoonotic and protozoan diseases caused by Toxoplasma gondii. And there are no vaccines that produced for humans or for animals. And we also have a problem about feral cats and other animals, including cats, that can be intimidated hosts. And this is a disease that has some means of prevention. There are no treatment that are considered effective to cure the disease. But for example, in some regions of the planet, this disease, I believe, should be considered as a neglected tropical disease, because there are some means to prevent this disease, toxoplasmosis, in humans and in animals. But due to the lack, I believe, the lack of economic resources, this is not applied in those countries. And it is also an important zoonosis, especially for pregnant human and immunodeficient people. So today, this disease continues to be, in my point of view, a neglected disease that could have some more budget from the politicians to control and prevent this disease. It is very important to protect against parasitic diseases because of the One Health concept. Some diseases from humans are due to animals, zoonotic diseases. So when we prevent the disease and we control the disease in the animals, we are also preventing and controlling diseases in humans. Also, there are parasitic diseases or infection diseases that in which the hosts spread parasitic forms in the environment. So the welfare of the animal is connected to the welfare of humans and to the welfare of the ecosystem also. So this is an approach that we, as veterinarians and all the doctors, the human doctors, should be aware and work together. In the worst scenario, we would have higher mortality and morbidity for animals, and also higher mortality and morbidity also for humans because of this interconnection of diseases and infection, and also economic losses due to losses in the products, in meat products, also in leather products, for example, or products that are due to production animals. But also would have, in my point of view, in my perspective, some problems in mental diseases, because animals and humans have a closer relationship today. So pets are considered family. So if we do not treat our animals, what would happen to the humans that consider those animals as family? So not only physical, but also psychological disorders for humans also. We have diseases that cause physical damage to the animals that can be very severe for the animal welfare, but also for the human welfare. And you also have diseases that they are not diseases that could lead to some severe clinical manifestations in immunocompetent animals. But for example, when you talk about toxoplasmosis, there are some situations due to the misinformation of the tutors and sometimes of the medical authorities that a woman with pregnancy or that wants to get pregnant and has a cat, sometimes the animals are abandoned, especially cats, due to incorrect information about the transmission of the disease and the measures for control the disease or the infection. So, for example, a cat or cats that live in a well-adjusted environment, family environment, and sometimes they are abandoned because the tutors are not well informed about the disease itself or the infection. When a pet is abandoned, it is very, very bad for the animal and for the many animals that are abandoned, and also many animals that can carry diseases because they do not have welfare cares. I have a history of a father that come to me. The father was very worried because the child, it was a little girl, the father was looking at the child and he saw something like a larva that was inside the ocular, the eye, and the father looked for some information on the human medical entities, and they couldn't tell him it was. So he remembered to come to a veterinarian and I asked him if the little girl used to play in playgrounds with sand. And the father said, yes, very often. So I said, well, it may be perhaps a larva of Toxocara that is migrating inside the body of your child. So the father was very worried, but I said to him, look for a medical doctor and tell him what I told to you. So it was really the larva migrans ocular syndrome that the little child had. So it was perhaps more than 10 years ago. I believe that information today is more available, and once again I emphasize the need for this One Health approach. You cannot work isolated, medical and veterinary entities. We need to work together, and other entities also.